So tonight, we do something a little different. Because I've been torturing myself enough with all these shitty games. So I created a monster to conduct the review for me. Behold, Franken-Nerd. Okay, I could really use another bolt of lightning. Yeah! It's alive! It's alive!
He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
This is a game. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein on Super Nintendo. Game. Good. Good. You bet your ass it's good. Here's a controller for you. Just hit start, knock yourself out. Have fun. Looks like Uncle Fester. Oh, come on, hit him. Yeah, you like that game, huh? Go in the building. What's the point of going in the doors? Little shortcuts? Yeah, get the fire. What was the point of that? You gotta ride the elevator thingy? Oh, look, you fell. You gotta get it to come down. Pull the ropes. Come on, where are you going? Like, what are you doing? I don't know where you're supposed to go.
Game! No good!
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? Okay, alright, we'll play another game. Try the Adventures of Dr. Franken. This one should be easy for you. Check it out. Frankenstein's got sunglasses. Yeah, they're trying to make him hip for the kids. Frankenstein's cool. Well, actually, since the game's called The Adventures of Dr. Franken, I would assume that you play as the doctor. So why are you the monster? Dr. Franken? What's that, a Hadouken? The Sonic Boom and the Flash Kick? Wow, this game's another Street Fighter wannabe. Here you go in the door. What's wrong? You're pushing the buttons? Are you like hitting every button? You pushing up, pushing down? I don't know, maybe there's something you're supposed to get. I'm sorry, you don't have to play. Biggest mistake Dr. Frankenstein made. If you're gonna make a monster, you better be able to shut it down. But unfortunately, I can't shut off the game because the monster's in my soul. It's my duty to play it for myself and explain why this game sucks, because I created a monster and there's no turning back.
Okay, so I figured out that the goal is to collect pieces of a passport which says F-Bone. Okay, so is this Dr. Franken-Bone or just F-Bone? Is he the monster, the scientist? Who knows? The control is ass, but it's that certain kind of assness that's hard to explain. It's like if you push one button, it attacks behind, like if there's somebody behind your back, but if you hit the other button, it attacks in the front. So it takes a lot of time to get used to figuring out which direction you need to be facing to use each attack. If you ever played Double Dragon 2, it's the same thing. It's all screwed up. It looks like a pretty easy game, but I can't stop dying. You get this huge life bar, but you take 2 or 3 hits and you're dead. But I think the biggest problem is that you move too fucking fast. It seems like you never have time to react to enemies and obstacles, so you have to keep tapping the D-pad so that you don't run into things. And that's no fun. It's like in Sonic the Hedgehog. You love running fast. You want to keep the flow going. You don't want to stop moving, but sometimes you gotta slow down and pay attention. But the only difference is that that game was fun and feels rewarding in that patience, but this game is fucking garbage. Now for the feature presentation. Well, the cartridge says Frankenstein the Monster Returns, but the title screen just says Frankenstein. What the hell? As the game begins, you'll notice that the graphics are pretty good for NES standards, and it reminds you of Castlevania. Essentially, it's the same concept, but instead of Dracula, it's Frankenstein you're going after. You're trying to rescue some girl, I don't know, who cares? And yeah, the monster in the game is called Frankenstein. I guess nobody ever read the book or saw any of the movies. So basically, you walk right and kill everything in your way, but just to confuse you, there's all these doors which don't have much purpose whatsoever. If you go in, you might find some energy, but some of them, like this one, takes you into these sewers where you have to fight a dragon which looks like Barba from Zelda 2. If you beat the dragon, you get some energy, which might make up for whatever energy you lost fighting the dragon, so how about just don't go in there and fight the dragon at all? It only exists to make the game a little more complicated, but all you want to do is keep walking right, and don't go in any of the doors. Then you get to the stage boss, which is the Reaper, kind of like Dracula from Simon's Quest. But here's the real annoying part. When you beat him, a bird comes, and trust me, you gotta kill it. If you let this bird touch you, it carries you back to the beginning of the stage. So, you fucking gotta go through all over again. And you think that the Reaper would still be dead? But no! You have to beat the Reaper again! And the bird! Again! What the fuck? Afterwards, you fight some Minotaur thing, which is the real stage boss, and then you get a cutscene which is slow and drawn out. Why can't the text move any faster? In the second stage, you fight your way through the woods. Some of the trees have platforms, but you're never sure where you can stand. Like, look at this! I'm standing right in between them. Don't you think I would fall down? Then you climb up a giant tree stump, I guess, and there's some random guy who talks to you. Afterwards, you don't know where to go, so at first I climbed back down and then walked all the way back to the start, wandered everywhere till I found out that you're supposed to jump down the right side. But you keep getting stuck on the edge, so it's never clear where to go. Like, couldn't there be a sign or something? Then immediately you fight the evil he-monster and she-monster of the trees, which is what the guy just told us about. Doesn't it seem cheap that right after he tells us about a certain monster, they appear? It doesn't build up any mystery. Remember the first Zelda game? You knew that you had to fight Ganon, the instruction manual talked about him, characters in the game talked about him, but at the time, nobody knew what Ganon looked like. It created all this suspense. But imagine if they never talked about him until right before you walked into that room. It's like, oh, there's this monster you gotta fight. Oh, there's the monster, fight him! Then you come to this swamp where you have to hop on lily pads, but there's barely enough space to jump from one pad to the next. If you miss, you have to fight a merman underwater. You can't swim back up. The only way to get out is to beat the merman, but there's no real strategy, so you just keep attacking him and praying not to get hit. When you die, you'd expect to start right back at the swamp. But no, it starts you off with the merman. Yeah, you don't get a second chance on the lily pads. You have to fight the merman over and over until either you beat him or run out of lives. And you only get a few continues. The only way to pick up where you left off is to enter a password, and then you still have to play the whole stage all over again. Finally, you make it back to the swamp. This time, I'm just gonna try to inch my way to the edge of that lily pad. Oh, fuck! It goes away! Wow, you're really smushed between a bag of piss and a pile of shit. If you jump right away, you don't make it. If you take your time and carefully plan your jump, then the lily pad sinks. And once you fall down, you might as well hit reset, because the whole game's over. Look, I'm standing as close to the fucking edge as possible, and even then, it's still not enough to clear the distance. So, I give up. I'm putting in a password for the third stage. Here, you get this pretty cool graveyard scene. The tombstones attack you. I think they were really running out of ideas here. Then I'm going through this castle, and the enemies are too hard to kill, so I find myself running past them just to get ahead. But that's not the mark of a good game, is it? Because doesn't it mean that you're not enjoying the game if all you want to do is bypass everything so you can get the game over as quick as possible? Then you gotta fight a floating red skull that calls itself the Gatekeeper. What's the hand's name? The Keymaster? Then you fight Dark Warrior. Ooh, scary name. How about Death Guy or Mr. Kill? Stage 4 is the final stage. Yeah, they chose to keep the game as short as possible, yet as annoying as possible. This place is all fucked up. There's all these weird faces in the background. Like, where are you supposed to be? Inside Satan's asshole? Then you start fighting all the classic monsters. First it's the Wolfman, but here he's called a Man-Wolf. After you beat him, you get a new weapon, three-way fire. It's kind of like the spread gun in Contra. But guess what? When you get hit only one time, you lose it, which happens only in a matter of seconds. Then you get smothered by sackless balls. Yeah, floating testicles. Then you fight Dracula. Yeah, Dracula's in this game. His arm looks all cockeyed, looks like a dick, like his hand is a dickhead. Dickhead. So once again, it's like Castlevania, almost as if Frankenstein and Dracula just switched places. Then you have to swing on vines like Jungle Hunt, but you end up just jumping through the vines and die. So now, just to try again, I gotta type in the fucking password. It's so tedious. I mean, it's not the longest password I've ever seen, but it's still longer than necessary. But unlike most passwords, if you move the D-pads to the sides, it doesn't move your cursor over to the other side. So say your cursor's on the letter K and you need to move to J. In most games, all you need to do is move the cursor left and it will show up on J. But here, you can't do that. You have to move the fucking cursor all the way to the J. A lot of effort considering that J comes right before K. It's so fucked up. And also, if you enter the password and it turns out that it's wrong, like if you messed up on one letter, it erases the whole thing and you gotta type it in all over again. Why can't I just go back and fix the one letter?
I really hate this password thing in general, because what's the point? You should have unlimited continues. Yeah, because the only reason you should have to put in a password is if you turn the game off and want to come back to it later. As long as you're still playing, you're going to keep playing the same stages over and over and over again, so what's the point of sending you all the way back to the beginning? The earlier stages are the easiest, and those are the stages you end up playing the most. It's the later stages where you need the most practice. It's all about trial and error. Like imagine if in high school you fail out of senior year. What happens? You do senior year again, right? You don't have to go back and do freshman year again. So bottom line, have unlimited continues. God damn it.
Another big piss off about this game is that enemies can kill you even after they're dead. Like you have to wait for them to completely die before you can pass. Anyway, I can't get past the vine, so I'm gonna cheat with Game Genie, the last resort. But check out these codes. Almost unlimited energy, invincibility after losing the first life may cause the game to freeze, start with no continues, cannot collect extra energy, and one hit is fatal.
What kind of codes are these? Is there like some sick fuck who thinks the game isn't hard enough? Like somebody who wants to be tortured some more? Well, how about this? I got a code for you. How about a code that just starts you off dead? Yeah, well, I don't want to freeze, so I guess I'm going to go with almost invincibility, whatever that means.
At first, the code works fine, but then I found out that if you collect energy, it takes life away. Not that you would need to collect energy, but it's kind of silly, isn't it? And guess what? Once you get to the vines, you still die. Well, that would have been nice. Why couldn't the code say invincibility except for the vines? Even if you pass the vines, the invincibility goes away, so you're left with your own wits to fight Frankenstein. So, fuck the Game Genie, and let me tell you, when Game Genie doesn't help, you know you're fucked. So you fight Frankenstein. His first form's pretty easy, but then he grows into a giant super Frankenstein. Come on!
Come on! Come on, you fucking Frankenstein!